My name is Margaret M. Mitchell. I'm the Dean of the Divinity School and Professor of New Testament and Early Christian Literature. It is my great pleasure on behalf of the faculty of the Divinity School and the entire Swift Hall community to welcome you, graduates, family members, friends, current students, to this special graduation ceremony in the Divinity School held in conjunction with the 511th University of Chicago Convocation. We are glad to see all of you here in this place at this moment. And I'm especially happy to see our graduates at a little closer distance. It felt like you were practically out on Ellis in our earlier service. So here you are all within eye contact, and that's much better and as it should be. Joining me on the podium here today are members of the Divinity School faculty. I ask them each to rise when I call their name. Kevin Boyd, Director of Field Education and Church Relations for Ministry Studies, excuse me. Christine Culp, Associate Professor of Theology and Dean of the Disciples Divinity House. Wendy Doniger, Mircea Eliade Distinguished Service Professor of the History of Religions. Franklin I. Gamwell, Shaler Matthews Distinguished Service Professor Emeritus of Religious Ethics, Philosophy of Religions and Theology. Dwight Hopkins, Professor of Theology and Director of MA Studies in the Divinity School. Kevin Hector, Assistant Professor of Theology and of the Philosophy of Religions. Cynthia Lindner, Director of Ministry Studies and Senior Lecturer for Preaching and Pastoral Care. Richard A. Rosengarten, Associate Professor of Religion and Literature. William Schweiker, Edward L. Ryerson Distinguished Service Professor of Theological Ethics. Michael Sells, John Henry Barrows Professor of Islamic History and Literature. Jeffrey Stackert, Assistant Professor of Hebrew Bible. Catherine Tanner, Frederick Marcon Professor of Systematic Theology at Yale Divinity School, formerly Dorothy Grant McClear Professor of Theology here in the Divinity School. Christian Wedemeyer, Associate Professor of the History of Religions. And Elizabeth Davenport, the Dean of Rockefeller Chapel and the Director of Spiritual Life. The Divinity School has been the graduate professional school for the academic study of religion at the University of Chicago since the founding of the university in 1891. The school offers programs of study that educate persons in the profession of speaking in an intelligent, knowledgeable, critical, rigorous, and honestly engaged way about a subject that is largely spoken of in its opposite terms in the world today. And that subject, as you all know, is religion. Religion as a human phenomenon has many manifestations in past and in present. Swift Hall is host to a conversation from the widest possible range of perspectives and interests in the study of religion, all set within the premier research university that is the University of Chicago, with its defining features and values of critical thinking and advancement of knowledge so that human life may flourish. Crescat scientia vita excolatur. It's my special pleasure next to introduce Teresa Hord Owens, the Dean of Students in the Divinity School, who will also add her words of greeting and welcome.
To our graduates and to your friends and family, I join the Dean in welcoming you to this wonderful occasion as we celebrate the culmination of your studies here at the Divinity School. From prospective students to the day of admission and welcoming you at orientation, it's been my pleasure, along with the staff here at the Divinity School, to watch you live, learn, and grow. And we are so excited that you have reached the goal that you set when you entered the school. We are the richer because you have been a part of our community, and I give you my best wishes for future success in all of your endeavors. Don't be a stranger. Remember, you are now alumni of the Divinity School, and we hope to hear from you often and soon.
So now the moment you've been waiting for. We shall now begin the awarding of diplomas, and we shall award diplomas in the following order of degree programs, beginning with AMRS, then MA, then MDiv, and then PhD. So I ask, will the AMRS graduates please stand? We now celebrate the accomplishments of these two students who earlier today were awarded the Master of Arts in Religious Studies by the Board of Trustees of the university. These students have completed a rigorous course of study in the academic study of religion, including 9 courses, language study, and an oral exam with a faculty panel on a piece of their own original research. They have acquired foundational knowledge in the study of religion. In recognition of your accomplishment, in addition to your diploma, it is my pleasure to present you today as well with a pin from the Divinity School as our little memento gift to you. And I'd like to call forward Professor Dwight Hopkins, Director of MA Studies, who will award you with the pin as well.
Rachel Diane Graff Leslie. Doa Mansour Mohammed Bayumi.
Please join me in congratulating the June 2012 Master of Arts in Religious Studies graduates of the Divinity School. Will the MA graduates please stand? We now recognize the achievement of these 19 graduates who earlier today were awarded the degree of Master of Arts in the Divinity School by the Board of Trustees of the university. These students have completed a 2-year course of study, introducing them to the substance and methods of academic inquiry into the subject of religion in its multiple manifestations. These graduates, through coursework, language study, independent research, and extracurricular engagement, have attained a genuine breadth of acquaintance with the methods for the study of religion and a fundamental knowledge in their chosen area of concentration. In recognition of your accomplishment, in addition to your diploma, you too will receive a pin on behalf of the Divinity School awarded by extended to you by Professor Hopkins. I'm going to ask, if you would, family and friends, to hold your applause, please, until all of the MA degree recipients have received their diplomas. And I'm going to ask right now that the MA graduates please sit down until your row is called so everyone can get a good money shot of the others as they come forward.
Erin Ann Barbato. Bevan Brittany Blaber. Ashley Annette Boggin. Daniel Scott Brickman. Ashley Francis Cargill. Yoon Tae Chong. Allison Lee Colpitz. Claire Florine Drost. Anand Deepesh Gandhi. Sarah Ann Gillespie. Michael Christopher Colby. Lisa Victoria Lando. Caitlin Lovelace. Nabanjan Maitra. Georgia Mall. David Allison Orsban. Megan Riveron McCarthy. Peter Hans Severson. Ryan Joseph Stelzer.
Please join me in congratulating the 2012 MA graduates of the Divinity School. Will the MDiv graduates please stand? We now celebrate the accomplishments of these 9 students who earlier today were awarded the Master of Divinity degree by the Board of Trustees. These students have completed a demanding course of study toward professional competence in public religious leadership, including coursework across the Divinity School and the university, dedicated classes in the significance of religious experience, community, and discourse, attention to practice in the arts of ministry, and 2 attendant engagements in field education, as well as a senior ministry project and a public presentation thereof that represents original research in the arts of ministry. They are trained for the profession of ministry. It is my pleasure to present you with the diploma you have earned, and Professor Cynthia Lindner, Director of Ministry Studies, will present you with a gift of a University of Chicago pin, now your alma mater.
Jacqueline Ann Clark. Gabriel McCone Godwin. Amanda Elizabeth Guthrie. Adrian Elizabeth Martin. Kathleen Ann Mills Curran. Andrew Michael Packman. Catherine Michelle Rayleigh. Laura Michelle Jennison Reed. Richard Aaron Zaleski.
Please join me in saluting the 2012 MDiv graduates of Divinity School. This afternoon, we recognize 10 graduates who earlier today were awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy by the Board of Trustees of the university. These doctorands, seated in the front row here, have completed a rigorous course of study in one of the 10 areas of specialization in the Divinity School, including extensive coursework. Did you hear that? Extensive coursework. Can I get an amen? Examinations in languages, both modern and ancient. Comprehensive written and oral examinations, qualifying examinations. And the research and writing of a dissertation that has been approved by a faculty committee in their field of study. They are trained as professionals, research scholars, and teachers in the academic study of religion. These doctorands have not only gone in pursuit, but they have found some ciencia. They have found some knowledge. The PhD degree is a research degree only received when the candidate has made an original contribution to humanistic learning. We wish to recognize them by sending them forth with their diplomas and with a gift from Swift Hall of the hood that they now have the right and privilege to wear, which uniquely marks them as Doctor of Philosophy graduates of the University of Chicago Divinity School. I'm going to ask the students each to stand in his own turn, as Dean Owens will give the names, and faculty hooders will come forward at the appropriate moment.
Nancy Diane Arneson, hooded by Professor Franklin I. Gamwell.
Program of Study in Theology, doctoral dissertation entitled A Tragic Vision for Christianity, Aeschylus and Whitehead.
Anthony Sadiq Banut. also hooded by Professor Franklin I. Gamwell.
Program of Study in Religious Ethics, doctoral dissertation entitled Islamic Modernism and the Possibility of Democratic Religious Freedom.
Jessica Nicole DeCoux, hooded by Professor Catherine Tanner.
Program of Study in Theology, doctoral dissertation entitled Parables of Freedom Toward a Bardian Pneumatology of Culture for Engaging Popular Culture in the 21st Century.
Carrie Beth Doe, hooded by Professor Wendy Doniger.
Program of Study in the History of Religions, doctoral dissertation entitled The Wandering Archetype, C.G. Jung's Wotan and Germanic Aryan Myth and Ideology.
Elizabeth Ann Hopp Peters, hooded by Professor Jeffrey Stackard.
Program of Study in Biblical Studies, doctoral dissertation entitled Breaking Pots, Making Metaphors, Symbolic Action in the Book of Jeremiah.
Carl Willie Lampley, hooded by Professor Dwight Hopkins.
Program of Study in Theology, doctoral dissertation entitled A Theological Account of Nat Turner, Christianity, Violence, and Theology.
Ann Taylor Mako, hooded by Professor Christian Wedemeyer.
Program of Study in the History of Religions, doctoral dissertation entitled Demoting Vishnu, Politics and the Unmaking of Nepal's Monarchy, degree conferred with distinction.
Santiago O. Pinon, Jr., hooded by Professor William Schweiker.
Program of Study in Theology, doctoral dissertation entitled Francisco Vitoria and His Search for Justice, a Theological and Rhetorical Consideration.
Marsora Shukla, hooded by Professor Catherine Tanner.
Program of Study in Theology, doctoral dissertation entitled Ortholexis, Reading in 20th Century Theology.
Munim A. Siri, hooded by Professor Michael Sells.
Program of Study in Islamic Studies, doctoral dissertation entitled Reformist Muslim Approaches to the Polemics of the Quran Against Other Religions, degree conferred with distinction. One more round of applause for all the graduates of the Divinity School. Graduates, you should stand up and turn around. Please be seated again. We have a very special pleasure here today as well, and that is to present the university's Graduate Teaching Award to Professor Wendy Doniger. The life of the mind is not a solitary enterprise. The craft and art of teaching is about passing on traditions of learning from one to another, from one community to another. It's a great privilege for the Divinity School that one of our own, Professor Wendy Doniger, has won the university-wide Graduate Teaching Award for this year. I'm going to read first the citation and then present the award to Professor Doniger. An internationally recognized authority on mythology, Hinduism, Sanskrit texts, and the study of religion generally, Wendy Doniger has had an incalculable impact on the contemporary academic study of religion through the many students, doctoral, masters, and bachelors, who have benefited from her famously entertaining lecture style, her careful attention to their own ideas and written work, and her profound investment in their intellectual and personal growth. Her doctoral advisees to date, as of 7 minutes ago, 69, over a 34-year career so far at the University of Chicago, are leaders in the history of religions and in South Asian studies the world over. The virtues of her own scholarly work, which combines close textual reading, astute translation, and historical analysis with lively prose and slicing wit, have enlivened and inspired the work of those who have had the good fortune to be her students. I'd like to ask Professor Doniger to come forward, please. Come close so you can hear. Faculty Award for Excellence in Graduate Teaching and Mentoring is given to Wendy Doniger, engaging and illuminating classroom teacher, magnanimous mentor, and striking model of erudition and zest. Wendy Doniger masterfully guides students into their own careers as scholars and teachers. Wendy Doniger. This afternoon, Professor Raudenbush, or this morning, Professor Raudenbush began his address with some pretty powerful words. He said, "Society expects a great deal from its universities." It does. It expects a great deal from us, and graduates, it expects a great deal from you. You have advanced skills that the world needs. Knowledge, critical discipline, the capacity for attention, for thinking that complexifies but also clarifies. These skills are needed for a just global society, and they are needed in very particular ways when the subject is our subject of religion. I'm going to charge you to reflect in the days and weeks and years ahead about the distinction our speaker gave between scholar and activist. And I would ask you to defy the dichotomy in your own individual way. Find your alchemy between your life as a scholar and thinker and your work in the world as a person whose actions make a difference. Bring them together in your own way. The world expects a great deal from you, and we have great confidence that it will get much from you. We're proud of your accomplishments and delighted to recognize them today. Now, you graduates whom we honor and recognize have been valuable participants in this conversation about the academic study of religion that is the Divinity School. This ceremony marks a milestone in your academic achievement, but we very much hope not the end of our conversation together, because you are always a part of the Swift Hall community. Congratulations and the very best of luck to each one of you.